What out, chaps? How's it going? Well, Keir Starmer's won the Labour leadership contest in the UK. The Momentum thugs and all of the shit for brains communists back home are going apeshit, saying that John Major and Keir Starmer are more or less the same. Even though, for anyone who doesn't know, John Major was the leader of the fucking Conservative Party in the 90s, and Keir Starmer's been a Labour twat for his entire life. And they're all kicking off because they're all anti-Semitic as fuck as well, aren't they? That's rife. Ever since Corbyn moved in, brought all of his chums with him that are flagrantly anti-Semitic, Labour's just been overtly hostile and shameless about it towards anyone who happened to be a 4B2. And fucking now they're all whinging because Keir Starmer is going to attempt to root that scourge out of the party. Again, who are the Nazis here? They call everyone else a Nazi. You know what the one bollock Austrian dictator had in common with fucking half of the Labour Party these days? He wasn't very keen on Jews, was he? Tilt Labour towards it. They should be fucking ashamed of themselves, but they haven't even got the good grace to be embarrassed. There's an interesting one. Here's Labour's new diverse shadow cabinet. Remain. Every single one of them. Yeah, that'll definitely swing those Brexit voting working class lads straight back over to the Labour Party, won't it? I think I'd rather vote for Peter fucking Sutcliffe than... Look at this one. Get used to it, Labourite. It's going to be like Ed Miliband, but with less charisma. Well, two things. Ed Miliband doesn't have any charisma because he's a jug-eared fucking idiot. And secondly, how far left do you have to be to consider Ed Miliband not a man of the left? Ed Miliband, John Prescott's red Ed slip contains political sense. Just how red is Ed? Fucking The Guardian. Fast forward a mere 6 years and apparently he's far right. He joins former Labour Prime Ministers, former Labour activists and former trade union officials in the far right. Weird. So I won't bore you with any more of this drivel. Seriously though, it's just the Socialist Workers' Party, the full-blown communists, everyone on Twitter moaning like fuck about Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, Blairite cesspit. They murdered hundreds of thousands of disabled people like crazy talk. And I thought I'd just point out the obvious. They love Jeremy Corbyn because Jeremy Corbyn is a lifelong anti-Semite, a supporter of terrorism, and a full-blown Marxist who wants to do the old long march through the institutions and just basically pull Britain apart from the fucking ground up. But here's an inconvenient truth for these fucking class warriors who worship the ground Corbyn walks on and despise Keir Starmer. Jezza is infinitely posher and more well-heeled than Keir Starmer could ever hope to be. Corbyn's mum was a scientist. They've since scrubbed that off Wikipedia, but she was a research scientist, and then later in life, because they were fucking loaded, she became a maths teacher. The father was a top electrical engineer. His brother is a physicist and meteorologist. The family is fucking wadded. They were so poked up when he was 7 years old that the father bought Yew Tree Manor. It's posh. You don't have a house with the word manor in the fucking title if it's not posh as fuck. Amusingly, even though it's called Yew Tree Manor, the father and mother renamed it to Yew Tree House because it sounds more fucking peasant-like, doesn't it? Yew Tree House. They should have called it Middlesbrough Shithole if they wanted to sound fucking working class. Wheelie Bin with a View. But they didn't. That's where he grew up. Yew Tree Manor. Fucking fancy. Well, every working class factory peasant has a fucking teak elephant in the living room. Oh yeah, and it comes with 5 acres of land. It says an acre of gardens. It's in something like 6 acres of land. And it has an acre, a garden that takes up an acre. So that's Jezza. Posh as fuck. They lived in a manor and they sent him to a prep school, Castle House School, an independent prep school that cost a large sum of money to go to. That's where Jeremy Corbyn went. So he's born and raised in immense privilege, but because he ticks all their commie boxes and he's a fucking maniac who supports terrorists and wants to completely dismantle the British as a nation, he's fucking great. They'll sing his praises all day long on Twitter. But Keir Starmer, on the face of it, yes, he looks posh. Sir Keir Starmer, right? But we know how that works, because all these fucking self-serving bastards lash each other up with titles. He even identifies as a socialist, and but he's being described as being on the soft left. So he's not even a centrist, but he's just not a complete fucking psychopath like Jezza. Keir Starmer gave a lengthy interview to Politico last year. He grew up in Surrey, his father was a toolmaker and his mum was a nurse. He said there were many times in which the electricity or the telephone bill didn't get paid. He also, unlike so many of them that are currently in the Labour Party, i.e. David Lammy, Diane Abbott, Emily Thornberry, all of the big ones who all send their kids to private school, he said he would never use private healthcare and he wouldn't let his children attend private school. He obviously felt he got something out of a comprehensive education. So ask yourself this. Which of those two is the fucking posh one, exactly? The bloke who lived in a little house with his nurse mum and his toolmaker dad and his fucking 3 siblings? Or this fucking lemon? Answers on a postcard.